You're listening to Three's a Crowd, the North East Footy Podcast, with Rye for Borough, Steve for Newcastle United, and Ted for Sunderland.
God, he's good on the buttons, isn't he? He's so good now, Stevie Wraith. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Three's a Crowd, the only Northeast football podcast where we bring three bitter rivals together for a bit of banter, a bit of laugh, and a bit of chat about football. Welcoming morning to you, Stevie Wraith from NUFC Matters.
Morning, mate. Morning.
And morning to you, Teddy the Mackhams over in the beautiful islands, mate. I hope you're fantastic. What a win that was.
Sorry, mate, I've got a nosebleed up in fourth.
Oh, here we go. He's in Champions League. He's in Champions League positions. What a game that was. I watched that last night.
But hey, we're all good here. I've woke up in a very good mood. And
I bet you have.
After the Limassol Wine Festival tonight as well. So it's all good, mate. All good.
Lovely.
Jeez. All right. We got Peter Griffin from Family Guy in the chat as well. Thank you for joining us, Peter Griffin. It's so good to see each and every one of you guys. Reminder to please consider liking and subscribing. It is completely free to do. It really does help the channel grow and helps the podcast be promoted as well. You can follow us at Invictus, at Ted the Mackham, or at NUFC Matters on most social platforms. Let's get into the football and kick things off with Middlesbrough, who started our weekend with a brilliant late comeback against Southampton down at St. Mary's. What a comeback this was. We played absolutely atrocious, lads. It was an absolute bore. All the boys were off form. It looked like a sluggish start, and it looked like Rob Edwards was going to be facing his very first defeat in the mighty red. But luckily, we had Callisen and a few substitutes come in the second half to a bright spark to equalise things late on, and Southampton weren't to find a winner late either. So Middlesbrough continued their unbeaten record. The only team in the EFL alongside Coventry City unbeaten is now Middlesbrough and Coventry City. So it's incredible. Frankie Lampard and Rob Edwards, the only undefeated managers now. It's an incredible run that Rob Edwards is doing. It's one that's been on nothing we've seen for short of 30, 40 years, especially in Middlesbrough colours. And we are absolutely flying. We stay first in the championship, lads. But I tell you what, a trip to St. Mary's, Steve, you would be used to that from last season. Teddy boy, you would know as well with Southampton a couple of seasons ago. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's a long trip for us up here in the northeast as well, down to St. Mary's. We've got to go to Portsmouth next Saturday as well. So we go to the other side of the country. Rob's saying that it feels like we're in another country by all the travel that he had to do. It must be hard on that jet, I must say. But it's a long trip for the fans, and a brilliant, brilliant effort. And one thing that I think we keep talking about, and I'll come to you, Steve, is that when teams aren't playing well like Middlesbrough didn't yesterday. We played very, very bad, but still managed to find a point away from home. That's a sign of a good team.
Yeah, you've got to win when you're playing badly. And that's, by all accounts, listening to the Middlesbrough fans yesterday, coming back from the game and looking at social media was exactly what happened. But, I mean, Southampton's a tough place to go. They had a big cup game during the week as well, which, from their perspective, they probably felt a bit aggrieved from. But, I mean, look, they're not a bad team, Southampton. They're another one of those in that group that you would say that they're a Premier League team in the Championship. And they've got Premiership players with Premiership experience. And, they're always going to make it difficult. I think the thing about Southampton these days, it doesn't have the same fear factor as the Dell did. I do think that helps teams when they go down there, that enclosed pitch at the Dell where the fans were right on top of you was really, really conducive to a good home record and really didn't help the away teams. But yeah, nowadays in the St. Mary's Stadium, it's a lot different, I think, and they don't have that fear factor anymore. But listen, I've said it and I'll keep saying it on here. When we talk about Middlesbrough, it's all about not getting beat, getting draws away, winning at home. You'll be there or thereabouts, but the gap is still there. You've still got a gap between you and second place, and you just got to keep that gap, and that's all you've got to do, and hope that teams fall away. I did say, I think, on that after the first couple of games that Middlesbrough really have the potential to be that team who open, such a gap that everybody's chasing second place, and nothing's changed on that. Even though you might feel that wasn't a great result yesterday, it wasn't a bad one at all, So
No,
I
good.
think it's a point in the bag. It's a point earned. It's not 2 points dropped, and you go again midweek.
Teddy boy, obviously a bad performance, mate, but a brilliant result was how to sum up yesterday at St. Mary's. You weren't afraid, obviously, of a trip to St. Mary's that were in the Mackems colours a couple of seasons ago, mate. But honestly, Middlesbrough going down there, top of the form. I mean, Southampton languishing down in 18th, I think, as well, coming down from the Premier League. I think they've had 3 wins in 45 games, something shockingly for Southampton. They've gone in instilled Will Still, who was a Sunderland rumoured for a point there at some time as well during the Michael Beale saga that we like to forget about. But honestly, Middlesbrough are able to steal a point here there. They were honestly very, very much below par, mate. But good teams find the way to take a point on tough away trips.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to win absolutely every single game, so you've got to kind of go away to these places where Southampton are probably in a little bit of a false position right now. I think they're capable of being a lot further up that league. Yeah, I do think we've maybe dodged a bullet with Will Still, because that's he's not having the best time of it. Everybody thought he was going to have an immediate impact. Listen, he might still come good. We don't know that for sure yet, but yeah, to pick up a point on the road at somewhere like Southampton, especially like you say, I mean, the supporters are being put through it right now with trips to Portsmouth, and then Southampton, and the fans are backing them everywhere they go as well, which is always great. It makes a difference, especially if like what Borough were yesterday, where it wasn't the usual sort of sparkle that you get from them. So the fans can also kind of drag them over the line a bit as well, and get a result. And listen, you've got players who can step up and get you that goal and rescue a point from the situation. We've seen in the Premier League for the front half of the season, the amount of late goals being scored is absolutely unbelievable. Liverpool, I mean, how long are they going to keep on getting away with that? Well, they didn't yesterday, I suppose.
No, they didn't. No.
But yeah, listen, to be able to pull those last minute points out the bag, or 3 points out the bag, that's how championships are won, mate. And it's like what was said last week, that the result against Sheffield United wasn't the greatest performance from Middlesbrough, but you found a way to get a result out of it. You move on. You've got that midweek game, mate, and I mean, there's only Coventry that look like being a challenger for you so far this season.
Yeah, no, it's honestly one of the most brilliant starts to a championship life, especially under Rob Edwards, who honestly, we saw him at Luton Town. And we were all a bit worried. Do you know what I mean? We all had a bit of a lump in the back of our throat when Rob Edwards was appointed. Obviously, his resume was Luton Town getting relegated from the Premier League, and then a back-to-back relegation. Obviously, they're getting relegated again from the Championship. He was sacked before they were relegated around December in Luton colours. But honestly, what he's done to galvanise Middlesbrough, not only on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. The fans travelling in full force. We're selling out games now again, away ends and home games. We've got a home game midweek now against Stoke. That's a sellout at the Riverside. So it is life and exciting times at Middlesbrough. And I tell you what, the fans are coming back in full force, and we love to see it. We love to see it. It's going to be very, very exciting if Middlesbrough continue on this way. We're going to talk about Middlesbrough and Stoke still to come later in the pod, but it's time to move on to everyone's shocker of the season. It's time for Sunderland of the week. Can you believe it? Sunderland have gotten a point, 3 points against Nottingham Forest yesterday against Big Ange. The Aussie is not having the greatest start to life at Nottingham Forest. This manager go-around is all up in the thing. We've got Nuno now at West Ham. Potter's been sacked. We've got Ange in charge of Forest. And Sunderland just cruising along, taking 3 points willy-nilly, mate. I mean, what a game it was. What a performance it was, Teddy boy. I watched this game last night, mate. That last 10, 15 minutes, your bum hole would have been squeaky clean, I tell you, because Ange was just throwing everything you could. But honestly...
It always is clean, right?
Mate,
I'm 46.
You were promising fans that you were going to clap something before you became a Borough fan. We're waiting for that. But honestly, Teddy boy, what a win it was, mate. I mean, we talk about Middlesbrough playing poorly, but still managing to take a point at Southampton. Well, I mean, Sunderland, he took all 3 points.
Yeah, he's a stat for you. That's the worst start for a Nottingham Forest manager in their first 5 games since the 19th century.
Oh,
Wow.
That is absolutely unbelievable. I do have a what the fact for later. That's not it, but
we will get into that.
Big Ange is going through it certainly at the City ground. But listen, what a performance defensively that was. The only one I was kind of a little bit about was Matsuaku. Chrissy Rigg as well looked a little bit rusty, but having to step into that midfield where it's just so competitive and so full of running. It's no disgrace to be kind of a little bit rusty behind the rest of the squad that we've got right now. For me, Robin Roofs could have saved my parents' marriage. Honestly, absolutely unbelievable. 100%. Absolutely world class. How we've gotten him for 15 million. Here's another great one for you then. So the two centre backs and Robin Roofs cost the same as the money we got for Job. That is how to run a business, because those three signings just look absolutely unbelievable. Mukiele at right centre back just looks an absolute athlete. He's getting onto everything, defending well, and then Alderete, who obviously scored a lovely header. A well-worked free kick routine. Whether it really was a free kick or not, that's probably up for debate. And I know a lot of Nottingham Forest fans will kind of be saying it absolutely wasn't. You've got to take those decisions when you get them. That's what VAR's there for. It could have been overturned. It wasn't. We crack on. Well taken goal. But Alderete, for me, he was one of 3 or 4 that could have easily had man of the match out of that, because the performance, while it wasn't pretty, like you say, we're up against it, a lot of it. In the second half, I think we had something in the region of 15% possession.
It was barrage, wasn't it? But you held on.
Yeah, that's it. It's all about being really, really organised. We can't go and do what Burnley did under Vincent Kompany and try and play expansive football, playing it out from the back and all that sort of thing, because you'll get murdered. These are quality sides. Nottingham Forest are a good side. West Ham are a good side. For all they're down there at this moment in time, and I fully expect them to turn it around. You can't set yourself up for to be open to attacks like that by defending as a unit like what they did last night. And I mean, special praise to Enzo Lefebvre, because he put such a shift in yesterday, doing a lot of donkey work on the left-hand side and covering almost like a second left-back at times.
Talby was good as well.
Yeah, Talby. He's another one who can... He works hard. He's not just a winger. He actually gets back and defends in numbers. And Isidore as well, another one, very unlucky not to get a goal, to be honest. But he uses that pace, but you'll see him deep into his own half and then looking for those breaks. And right now, it's working, and we are starting to be an extremely difficult side to break down. I only wish we hadn't played Burnley as early as we did, because they were kind of on that bounce of a newly promoted side. We got undone a little bit, but listen, the points we're picking up right now, that proves. Look at the Crystal Palace point we picked up. They've just beaten the champions yesterday. So when we can go away and be difficult to break down in a place like Selhurst Park, and then sneak little wins against good sides like Nottingham Forest, I don't care what the press say about. They haven't played anyone good yet. We are. We're playing some of the top 20 teams in the world's biggest league. So listen, I'm more than happy with that last night. But Robin Roofs, oh my God, what a keeper!
Honestly, I put him straight in my fantasy. Steve, I want to bring this up to you before we get your thoughts on the result.
Fantasy league.
What did I say?
Okay, no, it's fine. Whatever you want to no, okay.
Steve, I want to bring this up to you because what we saw after, and I watched a bit of the coverage after the game yesterday, and Sunderland were undoubtedly good, but Nottingham Forest were peppering them. I mean, Teddy there said about 15% possession to Sunderland in the second half. Nottingham Forest were all over them and just could not score a goal. Do you see Sunderland's, I mean, they're sitting in third in the Premier League. How much can we put that down to the work that Sunderland have done, one in the transfer window, the good coaching and all that, but also can we put that down to playing teams at the right time? Have they picked up Nottingham Forest when Ange isn't playing well? Have they picked up, certain teams at the right time? Has the fixtures been kind to them? Because that's kind of what the reporters were linking to, is that the Premier League is so up and down at the moment. We're seeing teams like West Ham and Wolves and all these guys struggle. I mean, are Sunderland fortunate for the time and the fixtures, or is it? I mean, are they playing undoubtedly well?
I mean, look, any Sunderland fan will tell you it's not what the table looks like on the 28th of September. It's what it looks like at the end of May. But at the moment, you just got to enjoy it. Sunderland remind me of Newcastle when they got promoted, under Rafa Benitez. They went for it. Newcastle played Aston Villa in the very first home game and they hammered them. They had been the team that had sent us down, sub on the Tyne banners and all that. Newcastle, I think, ran out 6-0 winners against Aston Villa at home with Joey Barton, Andy Carroll and Kevin Nolan doing the business. And it's very like that season. It's very like that season where you have, a bit of impetus. You've got good, solid professional like Xhaka in the middle who's dictating play, but who's also dictating what's going on in the dressing room. Enzo Lefebvre's very good, no doubt about it. I didn't think he would do as well in the Premier League, but he has. Look, the goalkeeper's doing well as well. I mean, there's lots to be positive about. I had one eye on the game, but I am a big golf fan, and I was watching the Ryder Cup at the same time yesterday. I had 2 full days of golf, as well as having the football on in the background. So, what I saw from Sunderland was just the same as I've seen from them, in the other 5 games. Just hard work rate, difficult to break down, and if they can get a goal advantage, they're trying to hold on to it. It's as simple as that. So, I don't think Sunderland will be in the top 10 when it comes to the end of the season. I don't think they'll be far off. 11th or 12th, I think, is certainly a position where I can see Sunderland finishing the season. But they've got bigger games ahead against bigger teams who ultimately will be a big test. The Premier League's interesting at the minute because you have got Sunderland, Bournemouth. Bournemouth have been tickling the European places for the last few years now, but Bournemouth have got a flyer. Crystal Palace just seem to have continued with the same momentum as they had last season.
Yep.
Delighted that they beat Liverpool yesterday, of course, and not just because it sticks one on Alexander Isak, but just because it was so late, the goal, when they thought that they thought they'd done it again. Delighted to see that. But other than that, the top 10's got a familiar look about it. Liverpool, Spurs, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Fulham and Brighton, of course, which you can add to the Bournemouth side of things. And of course, there's still games to play this weekend. Newcastle against Arsenal. Newcastle win. If Newcastle win, they get up, probably get up to 8th or 9th today. So it's as you were, really. But Sunderland have gate crashed it at the minute. The fans have just got to enjoy it because that's what it's all about. It's better than getting beat every week. But I think a lot can change. I think a lot can change. I've seen Wolves live this season, and I watched the Wolves Spurs game again. With one eye on the football and one eye on the golf last night. And my mind hasn't changed. I don't think Wolves will go down this season. I think Wolves have got more than enough to get out of it. They've got such a hard-working team. They've got a good manager, and I don't think Wolves will be down there. I certainly don't think Villa will be down there either. Not with Unai Emery. I think it'll all change at the bottom as well. Newcastle will rise up the table. Newcastle are playing very well at the moment. They're just not getting the goals. But they've only got one more Premier League game after this week against Forest, and then Wissa will be back. So a lot of emphasis on him. But look, fair play to Sunderland. Listen, they've just got to enjoy this. They're doing well. They're getting wins and getting draws. And another 3 points beckons them next week because they're playing probably one of the worst teams in the league at the minute in Man United.
Honestly,
29 points to go as far as I see it.
You win next week. Man United are terrible. Manchester United are terrible. And
I was more worried about the Nottingham Forest game. Honestly, more worried about Nottingham Forest.
I actually messaged Melly yesterday. We did like a couple. We always do voice notes backwards and forwards. And I said, surely to God now, you've got to stop defending Amorim. I said, that's the 42nd game he's took his centre-half off now. I said, what is it with taking his centre-half off every game?
Yeah.
I said, it's bonkers. And I've never heard him so down. And he finally admitted that I was right with my prediction about Amorim. He says he doesn't expect him to last. And he's questioning his own. He's questioning his own loyalty as a supporter. He says because of what it cost him to go down there, home and away. He says he's questioning his own loyalty because these guys are getting millions of pounds. To kick a football around and they just can't do it. So he's very disappointed.
It's a shocking time for a Man United fan, isn't it? And we feel for Mally. If you want to come on and talk about how good it is to play, football, well, we can give you some advice, mate, because us three teams are flying. But unfortunately, Man United, are looking absolutely horrid. My goodness me, and Teddy boy, you couldn't pick a better time to play them again. Let's take a brief break from talking football, because we have to get into a certain little game that we've always played here with us three. It's a little what the fact. We used to have a brilliant little theme song, but YouTube doesn't allow it. But honestly, Teddy boy, it's time for What the Fact, mate, where you give a bit of a clue and the crowd and we have to find out what the fact is.
Yes. Could we use the theme song? I mean, but we maybe could.
I don't
know. You can sing it.
Nah, you're all right. Nobody needs that. Yeah, so for anyone joining us who's new to the game, What the Fact is a game that I devised where I have a wonderful fact about football, and I'm going to give you 2 clues for you to guess what the fact. This one is all about Premier League this week.
Oh, sound effects! We're so professional.
On a Fisher-Price drum kit. So, your first of 2 clues to guess what the fact this week. You'd think this wouldn't happen. I'll tell you what, I'll start that again. You'd think this would happen once in a blue moon, but not into double figures. So you'd think this would happen once in a blue moon, but not into double figures. That's your first clue.
Blue Moon, Man City. Wait, wasn't there a Man City clue that I brilliantly remembered that one time?
No, you
about
Googled
it.
It was about that striker. Do you mean Dennis Law? Yeah.
I meant Dennis Law. It was coming to me. The cogs were turning. You see how quickly I came up with that? My goodness me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have got any idea what the fact is, type it in the chat. If you are watching this back, don't skip ahead, because the result or the answer will be at the end. But if Steve or I can get it, it's going to be a tough one, this one. But just that clue one more time.
You'd think this would happen once in a blue moon, but not into double figures.
Ooh. Steve?
Nah, I've got no idea what that one.
Nothing? No. Okay. Wow.
I think clue number 2 will help you out, but
right,
do you want the 2 clues now, or do you want the... How do you want to do it? Sorry, we'll edit this bit out when it goes out.
The Newcastle fans have been waiting patiently. It's time to talk to the NUFC. We've spoken about Borough. We've spoken about Sunderland. Newcastle haven't played yet. They do take on Arsenal today. It's going to be a tough game, but a good game to watch, I think, for any neutral fan. I definitely will be tuning in. Newcastle at home to Arsenal this afternoon, Stevie. It's going to be a big game, mate. Mikel Arteta obviously has a few injuries to worry about, but Newcastle can't, they can't complain about Newcastle. They've also got some injuries, but it's time to start climbing that table in the Premier League, mate. And I think Arsenal, honestly, much like we've seen with the Man United and stuff like that, are honestly there for the taking for NUFC this afternoon.
Yeah, it's a big game. This, I mean, Arsenal will be sniffing blood, especially with Liverpool getting beat yesterday. That's going to be their mindset. They can get 2 points behind Liverpool and into second place, but they're missing a couple of key players. I'm not sure on Odegaard. There was talk of Odegaard missing this game. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays. But yeah, Kai Havertz injured, Kelsey Breeze, Jesus injured as well. So they're missing the 2 strikers. Gyökeres, I've watched him. He's very good. Mm-hmm. He's settled in quite well. Has Gyökeres got enough to get past Newcastle's back 4 though? No. Newcastle's back 4 is the best in the Premier League at this moment in time, statistically, and I think whatever back 4 Newcastle put out, they'll do well. They could go 3 centre halves, of course. That's been the big debate. What do they do? Eddie's rotated the side twice this week, and that's something we've never been able to do. When we've rotated the side, it's not looked as good. Whereas he's managed to play, make 7 changes, and Newcastle haven't been affected. And we're doing very well at the back. I think Pope will come back in goal. I think I still think as long as he's not got any niggles, I think Trippier could play right back. I think Tino will be on the left. And I think the centre half pairing will be Burn and Chow if he goes 4. If he goes 3, it's whether he thinks he can play Botman 3 games in a week. He'll go with Chow, Botman and Burn again, with Tino Livramento and Trippier overlapping. And I think the midfield 3 will be the same. your Tonali, your Bruno, and it depends again if he plays that three at the back.
Yeah.
But I do think he'll go with Joe Linton. I think Joe Linton got that two goals in the middle of the week in the Carabao Cup. He'll go with those three, and I think Gordon will be back in. The right hand side is where he has to make his choice. We do know that Murphy's carrying an Achilles issue. It's nothing that's going to carry him out of the game. He's just managing his minutes, is what Eddie said. But I think he'll go with Alanga, and I think he'll go with Valdemar, and I think Sula will be on the bench despite him scoring 2 goals midweek against
Bradford. I was going to ask you about him, Steve, because obviously he was subject to the window, obviously transfer window deadline day. You were saying it's probably best for him with Wissa and Waldemar coming in for him to move on. But I mean, a brilliant midweek showing, albeit in the Carabao Cup against a lower league squad. But has Sula got a chance now to help, relieve that burden of missing Wissa?
I mean, at the moment, because Wissa's injured, it turned out to be a bonus that he didn't leave. And of course, it took the pressure off and he got 2 goals midweek. I still don't think he's a Premier League player. The only thing I can really point to positively is that, he gets on very well with the lads in the dressing room. And when Tyndall covered for Howe when Howe was injured in that season, he did say that he reminds him of a young Callum Wilson. So clearly the club respect him and think that there's something there. I don't know. It's a strange one. But he can come on for 20 minutes today if the game's 0-0 and potentially change the game and be a match winner. Yes, he scored 2 against Bradford, but let's not forget he scored the goal against Liverpool. So exactly, he can do it at the top level. He can score goals in the Premier League. But I don't know. Is the honest answer. We've got a game against Union SG Wednesday, then we've got Nottingham Forest next Sunday, and then we've got the international break, and Wissa's going to be back, and Ramsey's going to be back, which gives us a massive boost. So what will happen with Asula then? I don't really know. And Roger, he could be a late starter. The best thing about today's game is it's a 4:30 kickoff, which means that I don't have to reheat my Sunday dinner, because usually with these 12 o'clock kickoffs, I can't get me Sunday dinner and I get back in. It never tastes the same, lads. It never tastes the same. It's tonight, mate, got to reheat the gravy. It's lumpy. When you're putting the Yorkshire puddings in the air fryer, they're not as good as when they're done out of the oven. It's just all kinds of modern day problems, But the only thing that tastes the same is the mint sauce. But I mean, overall, lads, it's a 4:30 kickoff. Gives people time to have a couple of bevies and everyone gets up for it. I genuinely think, Newcastle's got a big chance. Arsenal don't travel well. We've got a good chance of getting something today and climbing up that table.
It's going to be an interesting game. Teddy boy, just before we get to everyone's favourite cat on the keyboard, Newcastle obviously at home to Arsenal. Arsenal have always been interesting. I mean, you and I both know Gyökeres very, very well from his time in the Championship he was with Coventry City. Had a breakout season in Michael Carrick's first season there, where him and I think it was the name escapes me. Ben Hammer who obviously they were on fire. Gyökeres now going to Arsenal. He's scoring, but I think his physicality is suited to the Premier League, but I still think he's missing a little bit of that flair. But it's going to be an interesting game to watch for Newcastle Arsenal.
Yeah, he's going to be more of a link-up player in Arsenal. Arsenal they've never really thrived on an out-and-out goal scorer for a long time now. They're one of these that will get goals from all over. Defensive midfield chipping as much as the strikers do, to be honest, for Arsenal. I think the danger for me, I'm just checking out the stats there. So it's Palace, Arsenal, and Newcastle have the tightest defensive so far this season. Newcastle have only conceded 3, and Arsenal have only conceded 2. Yeah. So there's a danger this could be quite a chess game. It might not be the open game that we want. I hope I'm wrong. But I think Arteta might just set up not to get beat in this one. I think that just might be a little bit, sitting a bit too deep and frustrate Newcastle a lot. And like you say, with Asula in kind of like not really hitting the form that I think there is a player there. Yeah. But I just think somebody like him is going to find it really, really difficult. Oh my God!
Has he gotten it? Has he nailed it?
Get in, Magnus!
Magnus! He steals the show. Well done, Mighty Magnus. You are the winner of. We'll get you something when we got merch or something like that. You have come out of the woodwork, mate. Well done, Teddy boy.
That is absolutely world class. That, yeah, that's exactly it. I'll go quickly before we finish on the Newcastle one. Then, so yeah, the Mighty Magnus is absolutely right. The second clue is going to be claret was spilled twice yesterday, but Maxim has a way to go to catch up. It's true. Richard Dunn is the all-time top scorer of Premier League goals with 10. Do you want to hazard a guess at who might be in second place? It's a four-way tie for second place, lads. Do you want to name some names that might be in there?
Own goals.
Titus Bramble?
No. How about Jamie Carragher with 7? 7 own goals.
Jamie!
His defensive partner, Skirtle, also 7.
What?
Bill Jagielka, also 7 own goals. And Lewis Dunk, who is still playing, who can go second outright. He's also on 7 goals as well.
Go on, Lewis Dunk.
Superb, that, mate. Well done.
As a present for Magnus, I'll think Blue Moon. Blue Moon.
Oh, God.
I saw you standing alone. There you go.
Wow, that's better than a Sunday lunch. That, jeez. Wow, I got goosebumps here. You just can't see it because of the camera. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is halfway through the show, so it's time to sit back, relax, have a bit of a laugh, because it's time for Troll of the Week.
First of all, we just want to say well done to Ryan for turning up today. After the sad news of the death of his neighbour, Sheila's brown bread. Classic. Natural arm position from Mo Salah yesterday, if he was a member of the Nazi party. And Liverpool did get beat yesterday, didn't they? Yeah.
They did.
Before Palace and after Palace.
Oh.
I love this one yesterday. Man United got beat as well, which was another good day. Paul O'Keefe said, hard to find a keeper worse than Onana, but United are giving it a good go.
No.
He does look like somebody from Alo. And
he did. He looked...
This was the ultimate shithousery, this lads, yesterday. Crystal Palace fan holding up the Liverpool team bus after the final whistle by Tyne shoelace. If you get a chance to see that, lads, that was a video. Honestly, he's there for ages. It's a video. He's got his cup of coffee that down there on the left. It's brilliant. Commiserations to this guy. He's a Newcastle fan who got taken on his stag do yesterday.
Oh no!
The replies to that from Sunderland fans were along the lines of how original. I've been watching the Ryder Cup, lads. This was brilliant. This was circulating yesterday. USA fans, come on, do something. It's exactly what it is.
They've been poor.
Tournament United, I took great delight in sending this to Melly. How did Manchester United get to the game at Brentford? Yep. Standard class on the train with the supporters.
Oh my God.
There's Amarin. And that is another video.
Oh my God.
Stockport Railway Station on Transpennine Express. Standard class. Man United. The full squad. Amarin and the full squad.
What the hell?
Video was hilarious because you just see everybody looking, going, is that who I think it is? People getting autographs and everything. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Wow.
David Moyes, of course, doing well this season. West Ham, though, wanted David Moyes back so badly they tried to clone him. And I know that Rise, one of Rise's favourite Middlesbrough managers, is now back at his home, Sheffield United. So they've got a Tifo flag sorted for him. One of our own. He's one of our own. Chris Wilder. He's one of our own. These are flying around again. Tottenham star Brennan Johnson started dating the actress Lily Phillips, who set a world record by sleep with 101 men in 24 hours. Imagine the shame of going out with your parents and having to tell them your partner plays for Tottenham. West Ham still get a bit of stick. Don't try to predict the league before the season starts. It only makes you look stupid. It's actually impossible, West Ham. And we'll do a bit of merch. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the capabilities from AI these days. Look at that.
Oh.
It's brilliant, isn't it? I know it's not something that will be on TED or Rise Mental Piece, but if they can start to do that with AI technology and computers.
Oh my God.
Why is Claire Balding screaming like that?
We do like a bit of an away day food. Rotherham fan paid £5.75 for this sausage roll at Wimbledon last Saturday.
No. That's a brick. They painted a brick.
That's awful.
And the Middlesbrough fan who had to print his own ticket at Preston a couple of weeks ago did a great job. Dear me, I would take a map. And I dug one of these, and my dad's old beauties out for the game this evening. Need all the good omens we can get. Lewis replied, "I love how often Man United fans feel the need to share retro pictures of themselves in Dad's kit because no one believes they didn't start supporting them until 2001."
I can get that shirt in the Turkish side of this island, and I'm not kidding you. It's absolute BS. I'm not believing it.
No. Looks brand new.
Goals night. Liverpool staff are said to be highly impressed with Alexander Isak's performance in training. Breaking news: £125 million signing is good at football. And fair play to Birmingham this week. We urge all Birmingham City supporters to unite and refrain from spending money within the stadium. Ticket prices are set at £45, already raised by the Coventry owners. Bring your own refreshments and cheer for the team from the terraces, not the concession stands. Together we're stronger. Birmingham on the rise. So, well done, Birmingham fans, standing up and making things count.
All right.
And Small Heath Alliance, Chase Danfield confirmed the Blues. They were once they are did. They became the first ever to have the first, as in the era of that when of championship football began. Congratulations, Jay. Who knows this? This is what happens when you keep multiplying with your cousins. Nobody understood what the hell that meant. Unbelievable. And that's all for Troll of the Week this week.
I just want to go back to a comment from Toon Army.
Yeah.
Does Ted fancy auditioning for the new Jeff on a new series of Biker Grove filming early next year? Now, obviously, I can't because of travel commitments and all that.
Yeah.
It'd be difficult for me to do. But I mean, I'm guessing you'll know Billy Finn in some capacity, being like sort of in the acting circles around Newcastle. Would you ever fancy that role, Steve? Is that what would interest you?
Not really. For me, I did Biker Grove 3 times, lads. This was when I was an up and coming actor, and I was doing background artist work. But I did it 3 times, and I'm actually. My claim to fame is I'm actually in the very, very last episode, which was reserved for people like Ant and Deck and stuff like that. And I was actually in, believe it or not, makeup for 4 hours. For that. And I'll tell you why. Because I actually played a zombie in it.
Oh, wow.
God.
There you go. It took 4 hours to apply that paper mache, lads. But I played a zombie and I'm in it for a bit. I played a security guard in Biker Grove.
Of course. Oh, that was a stretch.
That was a stretch. I also played a medical officer in it. That's not the greatest photo, but I am in that one. I also played a builder in Biker Grove, but you wouldn't have really seen it. I was proper background artist. There you go.
Oh, hey!
Get on.
There you go, lads.
The helmet and everything.
Wow.
Biker Grove, lads. Yeah, if you haven't been in Biker Grove, you've never lived. But there you go.
4 hours to look like Anfield agenda. Welcome on back to Three's the Crowd podcast, the only podcast where we bring the three Northeast teams together for a bit of banter, a bit of laugh. We're talking Middlesbrough, Sunderland and Newcastle every Saturday or Sunday here, depending on time commitments. Make sure you like and subscribe. We appreciate each and every one of you. Around 530 of you watching live right now. I cannot believe it. Thank you so much for all the love and support as we continue this brilliant podcast. Let's talk Middlesbrough again. Middlesbrough have got a midweek game. We're going to talk about the upcoming fixtures now. Middlesbrough will be taking on Stoke midweek at the Riverside Stadium. It's going to be a tough old test for Middlesbrough because Stoke are sitting in fourth position, but it is a little bit of a love affair going on here, lads, and I'll get onto that very soon. But Middlesbrough will be looking to bounce back from what was an arguably bad performance at Southampton, managing to take the points, but trying to make Riverside an absolute fortress. We saw the likes of Kali Sen come off the bench yesterday and score a fantastic goal. For me, he's got to start. But having Stoke coming to our backyard on Tuesday night is going to be a fantastic evening. Now, the love affair, lads, is Mark Robbins. Mark Robbins is obviously the ex-Coventry coach who was in charge for a man of something 500 odd games. It was incredible. But his number two during that whole venture was Adi Vivesh. Now, Adi Vivesh is now the number two to Rob Edwards, and Mark Robbins is now the coach of Stoke City. Now, the love affair that we talk about is obviously Mark Robbins and Adi Vivesh had an absolutely explosive fallout to the point where neither were talking to each other. They were separated in the dressing room. They had to sit on the opposite sides, and ultimately they had to part ways. Mark Robbins was obviously departing a little bit later when he was sacked, but Adi Vivesh left about 12 months prior to that. Now, Adi Vivesh is going to be on the sidelines behind Rob Edwards, but I tell you what, lads, it's going to be a juicy affair, but I wanted to ask you if you guys know of any other coaches' feuds that can come to mind in Sunderland or Newcastle's terms, because this one's going to be juicy for us just for seeing Mark Robbins coming against Adi Vivesh. They haven't spoken, they haven't seen each other ever since, and it's going to be a juicy affair when Middlesbrough entertains Stoke City. Teddy, I'll come to you, mate. Stoke City, obviously, they're doing quite well, which is surprisingly to everyone because Mark Robbins obviously is a good coach. Stoke City have got well financed as well. They've always been an annoying team, but it seems to, just manage to grind out some results. But I tell you what, there's a bit of spice on this one due to the Adi Vivesh and Mark Robbins spout.
Yeah, listen, Stoke's one of them that have been a little bit of a bogey side for us over the years. And obviously, we lost a manager to them at one stage because Voldemort went there, he who shall not be named.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, Mark Robbins is one of those where when he was at Coventry, I couldn't stand him, and I think that was more out of respect of what he did with them. He got them out of League One, almost into the Premier League at one point. They were done out of it by Luton Town, which obviously was Rob Edwards' side at the time in the playoff final. In probably the worst playoff final of all time, if we're being brutally honest.
Yep.
But then again, the best one will ever be topped, and that was last year. So yeah, listen, it's always a good game against Stoke because it's usually one team trying to play football and Stoke trying to stop them and not much else. But you can't really argue with them. They're sitting third in the Championship right now, and Robbins is starting to have his kind of effect on the team. What is going to be the real interesting battle this season is let's see if Mark Robbins actually finishes above Coventry City, because that would be absolutely mega sweet for him. He was deemed as kind of, you've taken the club as far as you can. So I don't know, I would like to see Mark Robbins just get one over on them, because I can't stand Coventry City anyway. But yeah, listen, getting back to the Borough side, nothing to fear. Absolutely nothing to fear from it. Yes, Stoke are in good form. No, you're not going to win every game, but I just feel like Middlesbrough right now have got the beginnings of a side that can really, take teams like Stoke apart. And I wouldn't be surprised if Borough bounce back from 4 points, but hard-earned 4 points in the last two games. I wouldn't be surprised if they turn up and absolutely hammer Stoke in midweek. I know I'm getting a lot of jibes about being a closet Borough fan, but I just like the way they're playing right now.
Yeah,
it's true. I would rather take a crap in my hands and clap than be a Borough fan. That's absolutely true, as I stated on your Twitter.
You did.
Very clearly.
I did love that.
But yeah, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if they go really, really mull at them. There's a style of play, and I think Middlesbrough, to give them the respect that they deserve, especially under Rob Edwards, they're extremely difficult to break down as well.
Yeah.
There's not many teams going to stick more than one goal past you. They're going to have to be really on their game for that. So, yeah, listen, nothing to fear from it. I can see a big Borough win. You've got to keep that squad fit and together. That's one of the biggest things. I just want to just answer Blue Rhythm Boy's question there. Absolutely. And it's proof now that you look at what Nottingham Forest have achieved. You look at the start of the season that we've got as well. I think it would take a major overhaul, something along those lines to survive. It's proven.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up because Kieran Scott and Chris Jones did a Borough podcast on the official. Middlesbrough fans, you can go and check that out. But during that interview, they did say that they create two lists. They had, when they're coming up with transfer targets, they've got a Premier League list and they've got a Championship list. They've got teams, they've got players that they think would do well in the Premier League. And if we're somewhere in first come January, then they're the types of players that we might be able to target. You look at Sunderland, who said, look, Enzo Lafite, well, let's bring him in now. And then they got the chance to play him in the Premier League. It's something like that, similar to Middlesbrough. And I don't think it's I mean, we saw Alan Brown, but Alan Brown, I was going to bring him up with you, Teddy Boy. He came on. He is so class, mate. Everything he touched, he just pinpointed some passes out there. He was just everywhere. And Matty Targett, Steve, I did not know. Matty Targett can take a free kick, mate. Hit the woodwork yesterday with a brilliant free kick. Was lucky not to get a goal, but Matty Targett has been an absolute revelation, mate, under Rob Edwards, and in that left back role. He's keeping out Sammy Severo, my Aussie, but it's undoubtedly well deserved. I said he was on the end of a free kick that was very, very close to sneaking in. He runs up and down that left wing all day, all afternoon. Undoubtedly, our midfield was shocking yesterday. They were completely and utterly beaten by Southampton midfield, but Matty Targett was still strong down that left. And Tom Fellows, who was arguably Southampton's main asset going down the right wing, was tamed by Matty Targett.
Yeah, I mean, Matty Targett is like I said, he's a very good player, and he'll do very well for you. He's he'll probably get player of the season this season at Middlesbrough as long as he can avoid injury, and he can fill in anyway. He fills in left back, right back, centre half, centre midfield if needed. But yeah, and he's got a bit of a dig on him as well, which you just alluded to. So yeah, look, good player. The kind you want in the trenches with you, and the kind that will help you get out of that division. I'm fairly sure. But I laughed there when Ted said about Stoke being usually a good game. I never ever remember a good game that we played against Stoke. It was always awful. I mean, it's probably 4 or 5 years since Newcastle probably played against Stoke City, and. God, it was awful games. Just
the 1-0 last throw-ins.
Oh God, yeah, horrendous, mate, horrendous. But for us, yeah, never classics. But it's a tough game, and like the Premier League, the league isn't decided in September. It's a good start for Stoke. 13 points, level on points with Coventry. Going into the fixture, and they will be looking to get a number and do it this week. So you're there to be shot at the top of the league, and that's the big thing. You've got to get through these kind of games. But from your position, you've got nothing to fear. You go into it and you do it. You've got to find a way to break down teams and and get a win over them. You're at home, I think if you beat Stoke, it sends out and comprehensively beat them, especially after your performance this weekend. It sends out the message. Coventry haven't got an easy game this week. They're away to Millwall, which is I think they play the following night. So that's a big game as well. But it's Borough win against Stoke, Millwall beat Coventry. Suddenly, you're sitting on 20 points. Yes, and that gap that I was talking about suddenly is a 7-point gap between you and the two teams closest to you.
Incredible, isn't it?
That's a huge thing today. That is a huge thing this week for you. So I you need to win this game. You're at home, but I think that's all that Rob Edwards has to do. It's all about that gap. If you can get it to double figures, which you could do by the time we get to the next international break.
Incredible.
At the end of October, you'll be cruising.
It's incredible, actually, and what a start it is. And I think obviously Middlesbrough, it's going to be a tasty affair, but Middlesbrough definitely have to start a lot brighter than they did yesterday at Southampton. I think the Riverside becoming a bit of a fortress is quite telling under Rob Edwards. It's going to be a sold out affair Tuesday night game. Middlesbrough fans, make sure you get down to the Riverside, and honestly, it's a great chance to see a fantastic Middlesbrough team who are absolutely firing. And as I said, Alan Brown from Sunderland on loan and Matty Targett have been fantastic in both Middlesbrough colours this season. I love what Alan Brown does. And he's completely different to Hayden Hackney and Aidan Morris in that midfield as well. He just oozes class, and everything he touched yesterday, he just runs his socks off as well. I'm really, really impressed with Alan Brown and Middlesbrough colours. Before we talk about Newcastle and Union SG, it's going to be a massive one, lads, coming up. But I want to talk about the international breaks. Obviously, we've got a World Cup coming up next year. We're seeing so many international breaks this season, more than ever. Do you feel this season, I mean, we've spoken about this, we've been friends now for a couple of years, lads. We've seen seasons where it's absolutely jam-packed. Obviously, Teddy in the Championship, you know that, from Saturday nights to Tuesday nights. Well, now we're in the Premier League, and we're seeing multiple international breaks. We've got one now, then we've got one in December. I mean, they are coming thick and fast. We're going around 4-week match day weeks, and then an international break. Is it too many, Teddy boy, or do you like this kind of style of the slower pace? Because I feel like this season, especially even in the Championship, which you know is it still feels slow. I mean, I've been desperate to watch Rob Edwards play and Middlesbrough play this season, and I'm having, it's been a really slow start to season because of the international breaks.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. You're poking the nerve with me, aren't you? That's what you do.
That's what I like to do.
No, I honestly, it should be done away with. I'm so done with international football. I would actually rather watch the Ryder Cup than I would England's football team, because I just find international football now just so overrated and boring. And to be honest, it's taken the excitement away from real football. I'm going to sneeze, which is why I keep on rubbing my nose. I'm not trying to give you a on anything. Yeah, listen, we could do without it. And I mean, from next season, it's looking even worse with what they're planning to do with this ridiculous proposed 3-week break from league football. It's just insane. And FIFA need to be held to account over this. Surely the leagues can get together and go, you're absolutely taking the mick here. It's gone beyond the pale. Different Alan Brown Davey, but I've loved the way you think. Good player, actually. Seriously good player. His son wasn't bad either. Listen, the international breaks are just the hampering progress. When you run a run, Newcastle want to start and find some form and find some impetus and start and get up the league. We don't want to stop playing right now because we're picking up results. Confidence is there. Middlesbrough exactly the same. They're up there at the top. They're not dropping points. And then all of a sudden, you lose, maybe 50% of your squad, and you don't know what condition they're going to come back in.
I mean, Steve, you know that all so well, mate. Obviously, losing Wissa on international break. I mean, how are you finding the international breaks this season? In a season that arguably, you've already got so much football at Newcastle with the Champions League. You've obviously progressed in the Carabao Cup. You've also got the Premier League to talk about, and you're getting players going on international duty. Arguably, when you're performing like Newcastle do, most of your, if not 100% of your squad, you got Dan Burn for England, and all of these players are now, reporting for international duty. Is it too much?
Yeah, I mean, I've never liked the international break. I think since we started doing this show together, I think we've all completely dissed the whole international break, and this talk of a 3-week break is absolutely ludicrous. It's not the way that it should be done. But we can't help it. We are the powers that be. The powers that be do what they want. It's all about TV revenue and stuff like that. So yeah, it's crazy. It really is, and it'll continue. It'll continue to get worse. Fans aren't thought of when these kind of things happen, and it's crazy. We'll be changing it next. We'll be changing football around and changing the months that we play it. That'll be the next thing on the agenda. And it's not good for me. The good news is, as you'll have seen in the chat here, Newcastle have are getting compensation for Wissa, which is important. We shouldn't be paying wages and doing that. Anything we can get for him being injured on international duty is very important. And that's it. Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare.
No, I completely agree. And it feels like it's such a slow season, obviously pending that World Cup, which is in America, by the way, and isn't America looking like a good country to play football in right now? But I tell you what, it's going to be an interesting one as we continue.
Fake news, fake news.
Fake news, fake news, fake news.
Wow.
Before we get the prediction, I just want to talk about obviously Union SG and that fixture before we come to our next podcast next week. But let's get a prediction from you lads for today. Newcastle at home to Arsenal. It's going to be a tough old game. I'm going to actually sit on the fence here. I'm going to say it's a 0-0 draw because they're just two absolutely defensive masterclasses I think you're going to see today, and they're just not going to be able to break each other down. I don't think Arsenal will be able to score, and I honestly think Newcastle have probably got a better chance of scoring against Arsenal, being that it's at St James's Park, and I just like their attack more, but I just don't think they will be able to either. And I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw, Teddy boy.
I can't believe this. We're going to agree on something. The two tightest defences in the Premier League. I actually can't see past a 0-0 draw. I think the result suits both as well. I think it's an important point for both of them. Just a 0-0 draw. That's all I can say.
Yep. No, see, Teddy, you and me, I tell you. Steve, obviously, massive game. Can you see Newcastle being able to break down Arsenal's defence?
Yeah, Newcastle will win this game 2-1. I think Newcastle will be very positive in that first half, and will find a way past that Arsenal rear guard. Couple of big things. It's whether Odegaard plays. He's a great midfielder, and if he plays, it changes the mindset of the game. Referees affect games as well. It's the best man you can get today, Jared Gillette, who is not the best man to get, and that can change things as well. It depends which Jared Gillette turns up, and it depends what VAR guy turns up as well, because VAR is bloody useless, and that can change games as well. So once upon a time you could predict results in games, really just off what players were on the pitch, but there's so much more to take into consideration these days. Darren England's on VAR, just check that. Listen, I think Newcastle will have more than enough to beat Arsenal. Arsenal do not travel well at St James's Park, and Newcastle over the last 3 seasons have beat them 2-0, 1-0, 1-0. I think Newcastle will win this game 2-1.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting game. Steve, just quickly as well, does Eddie Howe have any selection dilemmas today, obviously with Champions League midweek? Is there any players you think he might be resting, or is it a case of you need the 3 points today and you need a good result in the Champions League midweek?
I mean, Eddie will look ahead, but he always said he looks at one game at a time. You will be looking at the Champions League with regards to players and fitness, the players are going to have to get used to it. Union SG, Belgium, it's not miles, it's not not a bad journey, it's not miles away. That's Wednesday night. He will be looking at it, I'm sure. But we've got horses for courses. The big thing will be at the back. Does he play a back three or does he play a back four? I think the problem is there seems to be a lot of noise in the media saying that Botman's not happy with not being playing regularly even now that he's back and he's fit. So that might push him into playing Botman, Chow, and Burn together and playing Trippier and Tino as like wing backs again. But I think if he goes with a flat back four, then he goes with Botman, goes with Burn, and Chow. I think they're a better combination. But it's who's got the niggles and who hasn't. It's so difficult. And up front, he hasn't got the choice. He's got to go with Voldemort. He spent millions of pounds on him. Asula will be on the bench. The wing, on the left and right, you're definitely going to play Gordon because he's your best player on the left. Yeah, you are going to play Barnes, and you are going to play Alanga on the right because Murphy is carrying an Achilles, and if he is still having a niggle with his Achilles, you're not going to stick him straight in, are you? So I think it's just whether he plays a back four or a back three, and Pope will be in goal. He won't play Ramsdale today, so it's as simple as that. You've got players who can change it. You've got players who can change it. And I do think, after watching Voldemort now, I do think he'll get. I think he's already stressed. He has an urgency to see those midfielders score goals. I think we might see Joe Linton getting into more attacking positions and Voldemort being more of a link man and dropping back. But I think you'll see, certainly in the first half, Alanga, Gordon, and Joe Linton pushing forward. And you'll see, maybe Voldemort dropping in, doing a little bit of
like a false nine.
Yeah. You kind of saw that against Barcelona, didn't it? He became that link man. They created the goal for you guys.
Yeah, I 100% think that's what he'll end up doing. I can see him and Wisner playing not all the time, but I can see them playing a lot more together than maybe Wilson and Isak did, because they complement each other. They're not going to get in each other's way. So yeah, it's exciting. It is a bit of a reset, because we haven't got a 25 goal a season man now. It's a bit of a reset, and it might slightly affect us short term, but I think long term it's for the best. And and we've got money to spend to go and get another forward, because we do need another. You need 4 forwards really. So if we're gonna continue at the moment to say that Asula's a forward, we just need another one in the January transfer window. So maybe we can, maybe we can't.
Exciting week, obviously midweek game as well. Let's get some predictions before we wrap up. Three's a crowd. We've got Newcastle obviously taking on Arsenal at home today, but then they have got a midweek trip to Union SG, Teddy boy, Champions League. They're coming off the back of a loss at St James's Park with Barcelona. We saw that massive Rashford performance. Can we get a prediction from you, mate, early doors for Newcastle Union SG in the Champions League, as Newcastle look to get their Champions League off to a winning start?
Do you mean the Belgian club Union Saint-Gilloise? Is that who you mean by Union SG? Is it?
Bless you. Did you get that sneeze out? you got that sneeze out. Bless you.
Listen, the no mugs. That's where we got Siddiqui from. Union SG are a decent outfit. Apparently play some really nice football as well. I don't know an awful lot about them, but listen, there's a reason why the Premier League's the biggest league in the world, and I can see that the Mags actually picking up some points here. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Newcastle on this one.
I got you on a 1-0 win against Union SG. I just think you'll be able to defensively masterclass them again, and I think Anthony Gordon or someone will pick up. Steve, you got a prediction for the midweek Champions League fixture, mate?
Yeah, 1-0 for Newcastle as well. I think Newcastle will get that first 3 points on the board. It's a tough game, mate. There's no easy games in the Champions League, but just hope the lads and lasses who will go and have a good time. It's a limited amount of tickets for this one, of course, just short of 1,000. So let's hope the lads and lasses bring back 3 points, but it'd be good. And before we finish, lads, I just want to give a little promotion. We don't often promote stuff on here, but I am doing a little book for Christmas. There's the QR code in the corner for Age UK North Tyneside Dementia, and it's called The Promoter and the Photographer. So over the last 25 years, I've brought a lot of big stars to Tyneside, football and boxing and music, etc. And my mate Singe, who is also a Newcastle fan, has often been along at the events and photographed the stars. So we've done a little book. I've done 1 page of my story. He's done a page of story. And we've got an unseen photograph of the legend in there as well. It's going to be like a fanzine style size, A5 ticket. The cost of the book is a tenner, and you can get your postage and package when you pay for that on the website. But if you just go to my website, which is nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk, you can buy the book on there. But all proceeds from the book are going to Age UK North Tyneside Dementia, who I'm an ambassador for. So please, if you can, Newcastle, Sunderland or Middlesbrough fan, please visit the website and buy it, because it is going to a good cause. Thank you, lads.
Massive, great cause. And obviously Ricky Hatton passing as well is going to make that book even more special. So make sure you use the link and you check that one out, because it's going to be an amazing one. And we obviously speak a lot about dementia, especially when it comes to football. Lads, that is all the time we have got time for on this Sunday morning. Good luck to Newcastle taking on Arsenal this afternoon, and a midweek game for Middlesbrough at Stoke, and Newcastle taking on Union SG midweek as well. And then Mackems against Man United. That's shaping up to be a tasty affair. We're going to bring you all that and next on the next week's edition of Three's a Crowd, the only Northeast football podcast where we bring Newcastle, Sunderland and Middlesbrough together to banter and have some laughs. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out Teddy Boy at Tether Mackems. Teddy, enjoy your Sunday afternoon and your wine. That's just the fans waiting out beside the winery for Ted's arrival, ready to drink them dry. And Steve, enjoy. Are you going to the game today? Are you off to the match today, Steve?
I am, mate. Yes, looking forward to it.
Enjoy, mate. Enjoy your afternoon at St. James's Park. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate all the love and support. Thank you for the over 500 of you watching this live. And if you are watching back, consider liking and subscribing. We have been Three's a Crowd. We'll see you next week. It's bye for now.
Three's a Crowd podcast will return. That's not a threat, it's a promise.